But we'll soon see. We'll soon see. And, I mean, who can we get to replace him? The only person that stands out for me is Diogo Costa. I think he is sort of the best bet. I mean, he's got a reasonable buyout fee in his contract. I think it's about 60 million. He's the current Portuguese number one, and I think he's at Porto. Or is he at Sporting Lisbon? I need to double check that. And I'm going to double check that right now because he is a class goalkeeper. He's brilliant on Football Manager for those guys watching who really enjoy Football Manager. But I'm just going to check this now. He currently plays for... he plays for Porto. I thought it was Porto. Yeah. Porto. So maybe about 60 million for him. So if we sold, let's say we sold Onana for 20 million, let's say 20 million, and then put that towards the 60 million, that means he's only really cost 40 million, Diogo Costa. And he's a big step up. He's the modern goalkeeper. He's class. He's Portuguese, so Bruno knows him. Amorim will probably know him as well. So I think that would be the best bet. And yeah, Onana's had his go. I think it's time for someone else to start, to be given a chance at Manchester United. But you never know. You know, Barada, Jason Wilcox, who has now been promoted to the director of football job, he might have someone else in mind to play for Man United. Someone that we've never heard of, perhaps. Some obscure goalkeeper from Slovenia, which would be all right because the last good goalkeeper that came out of Slovenia was Jan Oblak, the top goalkeeper for Atletico Madrid. So, you know, fair enough. But Onana's had his day, I think. So I think it's time for Onana to go. So if he goes to Monaco, then all the best in your future endeavours, Andre. Fair play to you. Now on to Marcus Rashford. So Marcus Rashford is trying his best to flirt with Barcelona. And I personally think that Barcelona are just using him as a pawn in the transfer market because there's no way they are going to pay the money to Man United for Marcus Rashford, even if it's 40 million or 30 million, for a player that's not going to start. He can't get in the Man United team, and we finished 15th in the Premier League. And he can't get in the Man United team because he doesn't work hard enough. So how on earth is he going to get into a Barcelona team that got to the semi-final of the Champions League? And the two wingers that play for them are Lamine Yamal, or Yamin Lamal. I always get that mixed up. But you know who I mean? The 17-year-old amazing wonder kid who's getting compared with Pele and Messi and all these guys. So he's not going to take his place. And he's not going to take the place of Rafinha, who scored about 95 goals last season. Good grief, he's deluded if he thinks he's going to start for Barcelona. And they're not going to pay 40 million for a player to sit on the bench. And he's not going to play up front. What, they're going to replace Robert Lewandowski with him? If there's one thing Barcelona don't need, it's goals. And even if they did need goals, they're not going to buy Marcus Rashford to score goals for them. So this whole notion of him going to Barcelona is just ridiculous. Aston Villa don't want him. He's been at Aston Villa for the past 6 months. They don't want him. He's got a reasonable buyout fee, 40 million. It is reasonable, and he clearly hasn't done enough at Aston Villa to warrant them paying 40 million to buy him this summer. And I think we're going to be stuck with Marcus Rashford, quite honestly, unless Saudi Arabia come in for him, Saudi Arabian team, Al Hilal or someone like that, because they'd pay 40 million for him, no problem, and they probably pay 60 million for him to sit on the bench. But it just seems like no one wants him. It's a sad state of affairs, really, because I used to really like Marcus Rashford, and he does have talent, but he just doesn't have the work ethic. And he hasn't shown that he's got the work ethic at all, even while he was at Aston Villa. Because the the whole notion that was suggested from the Rashford camp was that it was the toxic environment of Manchester United why he wasn't performing at his peak. But he went to Aston Villa, a well-oiled, well-put-together, hard-working side, and he didn't exactly set the world alight there. I mean, if he'd scored 20 goals, then fair enough, but he didn't, did he? So I think we're going to be stuck with Marcus Rashford. But he's absolutely deluded if he thinks he's going to Barcelona. I hope I am proven wrong. I genuinely hope I am proven wrong. If Barcelona come in and pay 40 million for him and take up that 300 grand a week option on his contract, then I will happily hold my hands up, stand in a corner with a dunce hat on and say I was wrong. But I don't think I am wrong at all. Marcus Rashford will not be at Barcelona next season. Marcus Rashford will still be at Manchester United, albeit on loan at Brighton or someone like that. And we probably won't even get all of his weekly wage back off Brighton or whoever he goes to, Bournemouth or wherever, because they will be well within their rights to, what can I say? Say he's not worth 300 grand a week for us to pay per week for him to play for us. He hasn't done anything recently to warrant us doing that, because if he had, he'd still be at Manchester United. So we maybe get 100 grand a week. So I think we're stuck with Marcus Rashford until his contract's up. But on to Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho is a cheeky little bugger. He really is. Walking up and down that driveway with a Rashford 9 Aston Villa shirt on. Honestly, Alejandro Garnacho, he's another Marcus Rashford. He really is. He's someone that thinks he's better than he actually is. Because the thing is with Garnacho and Rashford, they are both good players. Fair enough, they are. But they are very one-dimensional. They are fast and they can finish, and that's it. So you put them in a team that sits on the low block and blitzes teams on the counter-attack, then they would be devastating. But if the team then that they're playing against sits on the low block, then they're useless. That's why they're not very good in this Ruben Amorim system, because they're just not intricate enough. They don't create enough chances in open play to be able to unlock and unpick defences that sit on the low block.